You personally, how do you feel about homosexuality?
I find it disgusting. Men kissing men, holding hands in the street. Every fucking TV show now, they rub your nose in it.
In the past decade, we have seen a huge increase in gay and lesbian images on television. How can we account for these changes, and what impact do they have on American society?
It's tempting to see the increase in GLBT images on television as part of some kind of natural evolution towards greater diversity. But in fact, it actually reflects two broader social trends. One is the news coverage of gay and lesbian civil rights activity. And the other is an increasing awareness of the gay market. And we see this playing out both in terms of television commercials, but also in terms of programming content too.
Since the early 90s, there have been a series of very public political struggles, all of which, or many of which, involve the resistance to gay people's entry into the most mainstream of American institutions, beginning with the fight over the military in the early 90s, followed by a fight over gay men's inclusion in the Boy Scouts, which went all the way up to the Supreme Court.
The court must decide whether the Boy Scouts of America can bar gays from serving as troop leaders.
Until today, it was legal for individual states to at least try to legislate what went on in the bedroom. Not anymore. Homosexual conduct is no longer a crime.
A lot was going on in 2003. Programs were coming on television, yes, but the decision came from the Supreme Court in Lawrence v. Texas that overturned the 1986 decision in Bowers v. Hardwick, which upheld anti-sodomy statutes.
The opinion by Justice Anthony Kennedy said anti-gay conduct laws are an invitation to subject homosexuals to public and private discrimination.
In my home state of Massachusetts, the Supreme Judicial Court ruled in favor of same-sex marriage as constitutionally protected.
Massachusetts may not prohibit legal marriages by gay and lesbian couples.
I think that gay marriage moment was an important moment with consequences that we haven't yet seen or figured out. A lot of gay visibility is getting used to the existence of gay people. I think with gay marriage, it was just getting used to seeing two people of the same sex declare love and commitment to each other.
Why don't we legalize same-sex marriage? We can attract a growing segment of the marriage market and strike a blow for civil rights.
Yeah, them gay guys got lots of disposable income. I can serve fancy drinks and charge $10 a pop.
Then it's settled. We'll legalize gay money. Gay marriage.
As gay people became more visible through civil rights progress, they also became more visible to marketers and became more appealing as a gay consumer market. And so what we get is this really interesting parallel between visibility in the news and the growing recognition of the importance of the gay market in television programming.
This is the one that we like best. See, our concept is, we want to position you as gay Anna Kurkova.
Hold on a second here, guys. What are you talking about? This is not something we discussed. I don't think that
I love it. I love it. I want to be the gay Anna Kournikova. I do.
In a capitalist society, and everything is so kind of, trade and commerce based, unless you're part of the commerce mix, you don't have a lot of value.
So we've seen a huge increase in the recognition of gay consumers since the late 1990s. And this has had a number of consequences. One consequence is that advertisers are much more likely to either implicitly or explicitly appeal to gay consumers in their advertising.
This Orbis Saver Hotel is amazing. Close to the beach, and the view is magnificent.
It certainly is.
The role of the gay market as trendsetters and therefore influencing the rest of the market is very key. So in that way, the marketing to the gay audience is really strategic in terms of the larger sales of the brand.
What do I know about performance?
If you look at the use of gay celebrities as spokespeople, it very much mirrors the use of African Americans as spokespeople, say 15, 20 years ago. There was a big fear that if you used an African American spokesperson, then your product would become an ethnic product or a black product. That clearly has crumbled away. Some of the most successful spokespeople in advertising now are African Americans. Now we're seeing the beginning of that as far as gay celebrities are concerned. I think the best example of that is Ellen for the American Express advertising, but there are others. Coming up in a big way is Kyan Douglas from Queer Eye, who has signed a contract with L'Oreal.
All it takes is a half hour and a sink.
It's good to be at that point, but we also have to understand that there's a certain stereotyping now that goes on with that. So what we're seeing now for gay men is they're the experts in home decoration and in personal grooming.
The relationship between images in advertising and images in programming is kind of cyclical, that as the space is opened by characters, Will and Grace and others, advertisers become more emboldened to include lesbian or gay references in their ads. And as those occur, program executives become more emboldened.
It's not funny.
It's a little bit funny.
Gay and lesbian struggles for recognition in the most mainstream institutions of American society mean that television producers have less to fear when including them in their shows. What impact does this visibility have on audiences?
I thought you said you wouldn't be caught dead in a room full of 18-year-olds.
One of the most important impacts of what a number of us have called the new gay visibility is going to be on young people. The significance of emerging and identifying oneself and emerging into a world of gay visibility, however attenuated that visibility, but of Queer Eye, of Will and Grace, of gay marriage, of attacks on gay marriage, of all of that stuff that's out there in popular culture now, is a world so radically different from the world I emerged into and others older emerged into that we can't even begin to track the significance of that.
It's not just gay people that are benefiting from increased GLBT images on television. Society in general can no longer escape the fact that gay people are part of everyday life. And they see this on television, but they are also, I'm finding, just increasingly unfazed by the presence of gay people in their high schools, amongst their friendship networks, in their classrooms, and so on. So I think that one consequence of this is that as a result of increased television representations, people in general will take it for granted that gay people are a part of their everyday world.
In the conservative political environment of the 2000s, however, the increasingly visible presence of gay people on television and in public life has been met with much political and religious backlash.
So you hate gays too?
Oh, Jackie, we only hate gays because that's what's in right now. Hating gays, hating evolution. It's the new age of enlightenment.
There can be a tendency for us in the gay community to say, you know, we're here, we're queer, we're on TV, we're even on reality TV, we're fixing up the straight boys, you know, we've got our L word, we've got our glam shows, you know, let's pack up our tutus and go home. One important point to make is that, you know, today's Queer Eye can be tomorrow's Queer Gone, you know, and I think it's very possible that there can be a sort of massive retrenchment. However, what gay visibility did in the 90s was not just get us on prime time, but create a public space, a public forum to comment on the moments when we're closeted again.
Television audiences today see a very different world of gay visibility from that of the mid-1990s. Gay and lesbian characters are not only tolerated, they are often welcomed, bringing to shows a hip and urban sense of style. Yet few images challenge conventional sexual identities, gender expressions, or family formations. Gay and lesbian characters are forced to assimilate into existing social structures that remain largely unchanged by their presence. If the bright star of gay chic begins to fade, will we continue to see the television landscape in its different light?